She couldn't read when she was a teenager, but she went on to open a school in an inner-city community in Spanish Town, where she has been teaching for 30 years.
Coming to Job's Inn, I stay here until 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. We sleep here. Nobody trouble us.
A woman turning weaknesses into strengths. Her name, Millicent Smith.
I am intrinsically motivated. And when the problems come, every problem that comes, I fight it hard.
Millicent Smith recalled being unable to read properly even during her early teenage years. But she rose above that challenge and eventually started a school which has been helping to mold generations of students in the inner-city community of Job Lane, Spanish Town, St. Catherine.
When the problems come, every problem that comes, I fight it hard. I've never one day succumbed.
The educational institution, which Smith opened in 1994, is called the Seventh-day Baptist Early Childhood Institution and Smith's Better Learning Prep School. To start such an institution, despite having limited resources and education, required steeled courage and determination. Another point to note is that the school has been operating 3 decades at Job Lane, Spanish Town, where the tentacles of crime and poverty are almost inescapable. That location in and of itself has caused Smith to experience a lot of different emotions, but perhaps surprisingly, fear is not among them.
Coming to Job's Inn, I stay here until 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. We sleep here. Nobody trouble us.
Smith explained that one of the reasons for her longevity at Job Lane is the strong bond established with the community, not only through her school, but also through a church that she and her husband operated there.
In the early stage of the school, I have taught probably 3/4 of the guys in Job's Lane. And they call me sister. It is so affectionate that they probably don't even remember the name of the school, but they say Sister Smith School. Why? Because when I came to Job's Lane, my ex-husband and I had a vision in my head which I shared with him. I said we need to feed and clothe the community. And at one particular time, we were feeding 250 people per day in a week with help from Caribbean broilers and food for the poor. And we would go house to house, visit the people and give them packages.
Smith's benevolence knows no bounds, and that can be a challenge, especially in a community where people struggle financially to find food and to send their children to school. No wonder Smith constantly struggles to collect tuition needed to help keep the school open.
Wow, I borrow sometimes. Most of the times, I borrow. Right now, we are in debt. My eldest daughter, she had decided to come on board to assist. And when we did the budget for September, she said, Mom, I don't think I really want to come because when the teachers should get their pay, where you're going to get it from? You can't live like this. But I must tell you that I have a passion. Money or no money, me have a passion. Me have a passion. Me love what me doing. And I don't want to die and go home with this gift to me. And the beauty about it, you ask anybody in Job's Inn, give us a child here or give me. Because I'm the only standing oldest person now as teacher on this compound. Yeah? And give me a child who is not able to read. In 2 weeks, that child reads. We have a good literacy program at this school. I do a lot of write-off. I do a number of things for survival, and sometimes when I do it, if I do it for myself, I push the money in the school, not getting it out. And sometimes it brings pain to my heart, but then when I look and I see the children passing on the street and say, Auntie Smith, how you do? I say, come here, girl or boy, what you're doing, and they would tell me. The children make me proud.
Hi, my name is Melissa Johns. I'm a past student of the Seventh-day Baptist Early Childhood Institution. Miss Smith is a very resilient person. She's very helpful. She's very charismatic.
My name is Nothing White. I'm also a past student of the Seventh-day Baptist Early Childhood Institution. I can say about Mrs. Smith, she has been so much of a total strength to the community of Joe's Blaine. You know, this school is an outstanding school in the community, in and around the community, and I have learned a lot here. I am now a chef.
Right now, the accountant for the school is one of my past students. He's giving his service to the school. The secretary of the office is one of my past students, because the funds are not here to pay anyone, and they came back to give their time to the school.
Like those past students, Chairman Evan Granston is lauding the educator extraordinaire.
I found her to be a dedicated person who is willing, and I say willing, I mean willing to the extreme, to give service not only to the institution, but to the wider community of Job's Lane. And to be a principal of a private school existing 30 years says a lot. In the past few years, I don't know if you recall, even some schools, private schools, there were times when these schools faced financial challenges and eventually closed. For her to be standing today, it says a lot about her dedication and the effort that she has placed within the school itself and again within the community.
Smith, who grew up with her maternal grandmother, Keziah Dawkins, is originally from the quiet side of Jamaica, a rural community called Prospect in St. Elizabeth. Although she was enrolled at Giddy Hall All-Aid School, her attendance there was poor.
My school days were only 3 days per week. 3 days, the other 2 days, I had to climb pimento tree, I have to pick pear, and I have to go to the market to go and sell them. And I don't mean I drive or ride donkey. I have to walk miles from Prospect to Newmarket that was flooded out.
When Smith was 15 years old, she came to grips with the fact that she could not read properly. Instead of wallowing in self-pity, she, in 1975, grabbed a grand opportunity and set out on a path to literacy. She enrolled in what was then known as the Jamaica Movement for the Advancement of Literacy, JAMAL, which the government had established to tackle adult illiteracy.
To tell you the truth, I, at age 15, when I realized I was not able to read, I went to JFL. They normally call it JAMAL in those days.
Smith recalled finishing the literacy program at the top of her batch of about 40 people.
When we grabbed JAMAL and we did the test, I can tell you again that the Lord was with me even at that time. I said I couldn't read, but I don't know, but it must be the Holy Spirit. When we did the test to go do some training, I was the only one who passed. And that day when I passed the test, I said to God, God, I want you to bless me. My mother has so many of us and I didn't grow with her. But I want you to bless me. I want to be an invaluable asset to the Jamaican society.
While still in her teens, Smith relocated from her native St. Elizabeth to live with her mother, Muriel Sane, at Bogwalk in St. Catherine.
I left St. Elizabeth at the age of 16 plus and I came to St. Catherine, where my mother was living, in Bogwalk to be exact. And I worked at an office without having the knowledge of what true education was. I worked there and then I worked in a supermarket.
Smith eventually wedded a pastor, Reverend Winston Smith, who headed a church on St. John's Road in Spanish Town, St. Catherine. The two went on to have 5 children. To help support herself and her family, Smith became involved in business.
I normally do business and gunmen came on us numerous occasions.
That's when Smith started feeling the urge to try something new. That something turned out to be teaching, a path that Smith was least expected to take, considering her previous struggle with literacy.
But after I had my children, my 5 children, I had decided to go into teaching based on instructions from the Lord.
At that time, The Smiths were operating a church at 9 Job Lane in Spanish Town, having moved it from its original location, which was a rented premises on St. John's Road, also in Spanish Town. They named the church Job Lane Seventh-day Baptist. That church hall was the ideal place for Smith to start teaching, and that's where she kick-started her career as an educator on September 6, 1994.
When we started church, the Lord impacted me to start a school in the community. And my words to God was, start school, Jesus. And me no have no education. Where he leads, he guides. Where he guides, he provides. I went to Food for the Poor. It wasn't located where it is now. And when I went to Food for the Poor, 4 days, I did not get any furniture. But the 5th day, when a gentleman by the name of Mr. Stanston said, he's not able to give me any furniture. I saw a young man and he directed me to someone and I got some furniture. We started the school with 6 students. And I started the school the 6th of September, 1994, without any subject, without any good educational background. And God has kept me and he has been leading me and guiding me and he has prepared me for this task.
When Smith started teaching, she got tremendous help from one of her church sisters, Marlene Castle. At that time, neither of the two was a trained teacher. The staff at the educational institution eventually grew to 10, and the student population increased from 6 to the current average of 100. Smith stated that within a year and 5 months of operation, her school was recognized by the Ministry of Education, which now provides a subsidy to the Early Childhood Department. The school continued to operate from the church hall until the year 2000, when it was moved to its current location, another building on the church property. That church subsequently was destroyed by fire. Smith, in the meantime, has been building incrementally on her legacy and also on her credentials. Through the government's HEART program, she attained levels 1 and 2 in early childhood education.
I did my levels 1 and 2, and at the end I achieved a scholarship to go to Garmex to do any course of my choice. After I did that, at least I did a child's care course at Spanish Town Vocational Center.
Smith also achieved 7 JSE subjects, which she said facilitated her enrollment at Shortwood Teachers College, where she accomplished a diploma in early childhood education.
I went to the exams, and the first 6 subjects I took, I got 5. Failed 1, and I went back the next year and did 2 bio and general science, and I got the both of them. That allowed me to enroll myself in Shortwood Teachers College in a part-time program they had started 2003, just yesterday. And I went to Shortwood and I came out, graduated, and I have been doing small courses and I have been blessing persons.
She is now mulling the degree. Smith also disclosed that she did a course in premarital counseling. In light of that, she sometimes counsels other people, including those grappling with marital issues. The irony, however, is that Smith's marriage failed, and that begs the question, what authority does she have to counsel others?
What happened after my separation, I did this course. I did it. I didn't do it while I was in marriage. And I have persons who come to me and they would say, I am going to separate. And I say, shut your mouth. You're crazy? Because I would say to persons, many times I do self-introspection and to see, is there anything else I could do to save my marriage? So I rarely counsel people. I rarely talk to them because when we go through these phases, we sometimes get very bitter. And I know I was bitter and the Lord delivered me from it. So I am able to talk to people to tell them when you have situations, you need to have discussion. Meaningful discussion with your partner. Don't go to bed angry. Don't go to bed in malice and so forth.
In the end, these are some of the things for which Smith said she eventually would like people to remember her.
With the positive values and attitudes that I am instilling in children, and the impact that I am making in the community that I am serving, because that is what we live on. I always say to persons, Bob Marley is dead, but he's still alive. So I know that when I'm dead, I will still be alive, because I have impacted this community at 9 Jobs Lane for the 32 years that I am here for church and 30 years for school. The children and the community will remember that I can call Sister Smith and said, Sister Smith, you don't have no school rice there. Give me £2. And I say, go get a bag and come on the rice you want.
On the behalf of videographer Dean Alcott, I am Horace Mills reporting from Spanish Town, St. Catherine for the Jamaica Beacon.